I want to talk about the changing landscape of retail game distribution. Let me know what changes you see coming in the comments below, but first, my opinion. I'm Tarmack and this is Feature Creep. In February 2014, EA Chief Operating Officer Peter Moore said that digital game revenues will surpass retail within the next 2 years. Market research group NPD said in 2010 that digital units sold had already surpassed retail in volume, but that revenues were yet to follow as physical copies have a much higher average price tag. There were some grumblings at the time from Valve and others about the accuracy of the numbers, but it's clear that the trend is moving in that direction, and Moore is in a pretty good position to be commenting on that truth. The game industry is undergoing some very interesting abuses right now on the retail front, a few of which I've done videos on. The most stark example, though, is pre-order bonuses. The reason that we're seeing such an overabundance of pre-order bonuses right now is because retail is flexing all that remains of its power. Big box retail knows that there's a monumental shift occurring, driving gamers to digital platforms, and in order to attempt to combat that shift, these cut-off pieces of exclusive content become hostages that digital consumers have to decide whether they want to save. We saw a similar flexing of muscle in the music industry post-Napster. CDs began being shipped with extras, digital content on the disc, t-shirts in some cases, online giveaways, exclusive tracks, and even attempts at DRM courtesy of the Sony Rootkit. In the case of the music industry, it was the publishers who were terrified of retail being damaged by digital, and even today, none of them has properly embraced digital music. Retail music revenues do still have yet to be surpassed by digital, but that's a very close battle and the point stands. Digital music volume is of course significantly higher than retail, again due to the price variance. Video game retailers are in a much tougher spot though, because the growing video game demographic contains far fewer holdouts from an older time. So where does this leave games? Well, for starters, let's outline where we currently are. Digital sales are ahead by volume but behind by revenue. We have multiple digital platforms, mostly owned by the publishers themselves. Retail sells box copies, first and third-party hardware, as well as the game time and money cards. And of course, digital sells for less than retail. This is our baseline. The next step in the evolution of the game industry away from retail is going to be a move to boxed copies containing no discs. The packages will be much smaller and merely contain a card with a redemption code for a digital version of the game on the publisher platform of choice, whether on PC or on console. We're already there. The disc in most cases just takes some of the bandwidth out of the mix, but day one patches are nearly always a reality, and in many cases, you can just input the code and download the game anyways without needing the disc. I fully expect the retailers to push even harder for more pre-order DLC and other exclusive content. The closer we come to true parity and experience between digital and retail, the more desperate the retailers will become. The fewer copies sold to retail consumers, the less power the retail machine holds, which decreases the need for pre-order bonuses outside of the initial single publisher-held version. In theory, this should stop the industry from repeating the Watch Dogs 9 Game Editions nonsense. They'll only need one pre-order from the publisher platform of choice. And in changing games over to simple cards with a code, they decrease shipping and manufacturing costs dramatically, the last bastion of why retail games cost more. But the detractors will say that you can't steal 100 box copies of a game while theft of hundreds of cards would be easy. Well, the infrastructure is already in place to resolve that issue. The cards will be activated at purchase, just like every other gift card hanging out in the open in a store right now. As an aside, I saw a guy in his mid-teens doing his best to slip a handful of Visa gift cards into his pocket on the sly in the grocery store a while back. I didn't have the heart to tell him. As Ron White says, there's not a pill you can take, there's no class you can go to. Stupid is forever. The real beauty of this particular move is that it relegates retailers to the role of gift card sellers for video games. There very quickly becomes no benefit to shopping retail because the experience is exactly the same as buying online, and it turns retail games into impulse purchases at the till, or items that only those with no online method of purchase bother with. There's no need to go any further. Once publishers set up the online tracking system for card activations, they never have to officially kill retail anyways. It'll just die a slow, painful death all on its own as the market moves away from it. The trickier prediction to make than the above is to figure out how hardware will be handled. Retailers make a significant margin on third-party hardware. This encompasses your Turtle Beach headphones, Mad Catz controllers, and other things like that. They tend to make very little on first-party hardware. The assumption and justification is that they'll make a larger margin on the games themselves. What this means is that should games become a null entity in the retail space, there's very little benefit in retailers keeping the hardware on the shelves. Personally, I see those two issues as tapering down slowly over time before the next console launch. None of these changes is going to be very abrupt, but the hardware manufacturers will need to be very aware that retailers won't want to dedicate so much floor space to hardware with the software being ignored. Given the recent hardware adjustments and seeing how far behind PC the current generation is in terms of performance, I think it's reasonable to say that the next console generation won't actually run games at all. It'll stream them. Mark my words, PlayStation TV is the first real experiment in a dedicated console game streaming box which will replace everything, and it's very easy to sell in Best Buy, Future Shop, GameStop, Walmart Game, HMV, Target, Amazon, eBay Games, and all the rest. Just stuff it beside whatever iteration of Chromecast is out at the time. But I'll do another video later on that topic. Let me know where you see retail games over the next 5 years or so. If you enjoy Feature Creep, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any episodes. Thanks for watching. That's all I have to say. Tarmack out.